Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk about being on antipsychotics, which is olanzapine, and I was on it since 15, and last year I stopped when I was 18, and I'm going to talk about my experience on it. Basically, people who are on antipsychotics, they basically either have like schizophrenia or like psychosis or any other psychotic related disorders. So I was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was 15 years old, and I still have it now. The reason why I stopped being on it was because I didn't like the side effects that I was experiencing. I only have to take it that time because there was an outbreak of it, and I took it to kind of relieve the symptoms. But now I stopped, and I still have schizophrenia because I believe, and it is a fact that schizophrenia can't be cured, so I still live with it. But I'm gonna talk about my experience on being on antipsychotics, and I only took one of it, so I was basically on olanzapine. So being on it, it actually kind of relieved the symptoms, but it didn't really cure all the symptoms. So I had like drowsiness, and I had weight gain, and it really kind of affected my body a lot. Like my physical health was also kind of affected. So I was on it for like almost 3 years or a bit more, and it actually was a long-term use. So on it, if I were to say that the voices were lesser, I think it is, but I still had like hallucinations and a bit of delusions on it, but it was significantly less. When my outbreak started, I think it was the most terrifying because I didn't know what was really happening. But of course, now that I learn about schizophrenia and have some insight on it, that I actually can understand and what's really happening to me, and that it is my symptoms of the illness, and I kind of learn how to manage with it. So the reason why I went off it was really terrible on my body, and it affected me quite a lot. And as usual, people with schizophrenia, usually their treatment is on antipsychotics, and that is the only way to kind of relieve, and also alongside psychotherapy or CBT. But honestly, if I were to say, I think when it started, like I heard really terrifying voices, and also just like really extremely disturbing like laughter. Like I remembered because I was way younger at that time, I didn't know what was happening to me. So basically, I kind of wake up in the middle of the night, and then I heard like laughter, and it was really like a witch laughter, like really loud. Like I live in a condo, and I usually share my room with my sister, but I think she was gone for like staycation or something, so I had the room alone, and I heard it like the whole like room, the whole condo was just filled with the laughter, and it was like 8 a.m. So it was really, really like scary for me. I don't know what to do, honestly. I think I'm a calm person, but I just didn't like that. It was so booming, like I can hear it echoing, like the whole condo was filled with it. And I was so affected. I called my mom, and my mom is always going to be there for me if I needed someone. So I was actually kind of relieved, but it actually went away after like 20 minutes or more. It was the most terrifying experience. And also the other fact that I love music, like I said in my previous video, that I love to listen to music, and I just didn't like that sometimes the voices would tell me that I'm worthless or something like that, which is a basic sign of like paranoia in schizophrenia. So the voices were inducing the paranoia in me to kind of like end my life. So it was pretty much very sad for me. I felt really miserable, and I was like telling and crying to myself that I don't know what's happening. So my mom was there, and I actually really had really dark thoughts of like my life and like contemplation of everything. So it was really bad for me. And when I was on olanzapine, it kind of helps to reduce, but since I was in it for 3 years, like I said, the effects of antipsychotics is really bad. There's always going to be side effects on like every antipsychotic, which is really distressing for the patient, because like most of people with schizophrenia, they have to try and see which antipsychotic which is the most suitable for them. And we are never really free from side effects on medication. There's always gonna be like a certain dosage to take. Also carefully monitored with the psychiatrist, and also like seeing like how the patient is and everything. And I kind of think it is one of the most I find it difficult. Like for me, I was on olanzapine like for a constant 3 years, and I think for other patients, they would probably be more aware of the symptoms and the availability of the antipsychotics. And I just think that it is tiring for people to just go like on, to try on like every antipsychotic and see if it produces like little or no side effects at all. So I think it is important for people to be more aware of that. For me, I only stayed on olanzapine and it was really bad. I think I tried to change to another antipsychotic. I was also somehow weirdly on antidepressants. I didn't think I was depressed. I think, yeah, of course, sometimes people with schizophrenia can get depressed with the voices and their hallucination or their delusions, but I think that, it wasn't just purely depression. I think schizophrenia is like a confounding factor to like feeling depressed, and it was just the part of puzzle of it. And it's not that I really had depression. I think some things like environmental can actually like trigger and induce schizophrenia, like for example bullying, which I was really weird and misunderstood as like a teenager. And like I feel like every year I kind of get stressed or like traumatized from different things, like bullying or not feeling understood enough by other people, but I didn't really care, so I didn't really let myself sink into depression. But I think feeling depressed is just part of it, because I feel like schizophrenia is really difficult to manage, to challenge it like every day. I think it is very tiring. At the end of the day, I think it's really like soul draining, and we need to find something to rely on, like God or anything else, to kind of like calm ourselves down. Because I think I've lived with it for many years, but I think I kind of got used to it. That's why I was off medication. And also I didn't want to be on medication which is antipsychotics, because I feel like the side effects was too much, and long-term use could lead to anaesthesia or something. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I think just the involuntary movement of like the body, and it's really bad. I think the long-term use is just something that is difficult to manage, because I don't know why I couldn't really control my movements, but it is one of the most common long-term side effects of schizophrenia and on antipsychotics. And I think it is the worst to be on, because I didn't know what was happening even more. So I think that was my experience changing to another antipsychotic. So like even just changing to another antidepressant, which I don't know why I was on it, and I obviously didn't agree to it, but I just took it because my doctor prescribed to me. And changing it is even more difficult because I had to end up in A&E, because it caused me headache for, or like nausea, or like not being able to stand up properly for like a day or more. So we had to switch back to the original one, which is olanzapine. So obviously that is also another risk of changing or like finding an alternative to it. So I think that was another major problem in antipsychotics. So I kind of got out of it because I thought I was curing at one point of time, but as I said, the environmental factors like stress, trauma actually induces my symptoms to came back, and it did. For me, it's really difficult. I still have it now. I just thought that it was getting less and less and I was curing, but it wasn't like that, obviously, because schizophrenia can have a relapse, or just it's like kind of like a lifelong condition. I think we just learn how to manage with it, and obviously antipsychotic is obviously recommended for those who really need it. And I'm not trying to say to get off just because of side effects. I mean, it's important to always discuss with your doctor about it. And I think for me, I still have the same symptoms and I think the same severity, but I just know how to manage with it, or just not take too much importance of like the voices or hallucinations or delusions, because it's really with me for years, and once I know what's actually happening to me, I'll know really just to, kind of take it easy on myself and not just think that, okay, what's really going on, because I know what's going on. For me, I I think it is important to just like not be too stressed. And for me, if people were to say to me that, oh, your voices are not real, hallucinations are not real, and everything, delusions are not real, I think from other people's point of view who don't have schizophrenia, I don't think they actually understand how it can seem real to me and I could actually believe it. But I'm not one to kind of let them, kind of make me feel like I'm in danger. Obviously, I feel like that because the voices can be threatening. They would tell me that really negative things, like how I'm better off, like not alive and everything. So I would think that it really is real to me, in my opinion and my experiences, and I would not let it like affect me the way that I wanted to, contemplate suicide or really do it, because I know I'm not like that. I mean, I'm a pessimist, but I never believe in one, committing suicide, to be honest, because it is challenging, and I do have like nights where I wonder, like, I get really existential about myself, but I think I just, I don't really care. I don't really have like a meaning to, the voices. I don't understand my life with schizophrenia because it's just a really terrible illness, but I never let it like affect my life. I'm just one of the person who just keeps going in life. Like, it could be a setback to me or anything, but I never feel like every day I'm supposed to feel like I'm going to let myself be defeated. Sometimes I would tell myself that I want to be strong, but at the same time I could be realistic and be like, no, I am strong and I am weak at the same time. I can't feel strong all the time because I feel like no matter how used I am to this illness or anything, it just still takes up a bit of my, ability to feel as if something is worth it. And I think that everything is worth it. It's just that sometimes it would drain me and I would feel like there's nothing to be happy about. There's nothing to, to feel inside of me. And that's really wrong, because I felt that I find little joy in life, like, playing my bunny, or just, be thankful that I'm still alive and doing what I can and I still can function, and I'm so thankful for that, because I know people with schizophrenia, for other people, they might not be able to function, or they have really, really bad symptoms that interfere with their daily function, and I really thank God for my functioning and everything. The thing that I actually really, want to improve on is also the way I look at myself and see myself, which is okay, but I feel like I need to be more kind of myself. I'm really harsh on myself, and I'm really insecure by nature. I mean, I'm not very insecure, but I feel like I'm very concerned about my safety and how I see things, the way I see things. And I really think that is important for me, because I'm very kind of protective, but not so overprotective. Like, I always saw myself in this spectrum of like in between things, but for sure that I could be a bit pessimistic for most of my outlook. But for me, I think it is okay to be pessimistic and also to be neutral. I'm not really an optimistic person, to be honest, because I honestly overthink so much. But in this kind of situation, it helped me to see like my reality more clearly, and like see like if I want to, do something, I would do something if it actually helps me. And in my case, I think being without antipsychotics, which is very hard struggle. Sometimes I feel like I want to go back to antipsychotics, but it really just, it doesn't agree with me and my body, because it's having a lot of side effects, and it's really very tough on one person to handle. And like I said, schizophrenia has no cure, so just antipsychotic just helps to relieve the symptoms a lot. I still had symptoms on it and of it, so I feel like it's the same, so I managed to live my life kind of the same. I think it just helps to relieve. So like I said, it's important to manage stress. I also kind of googled which kind of natural treatments to do, but it's not really proven. But I think B12 is really helpful for like the brain and also fish oil, but I didn't want it because it actually can irritate stomach. And also maybe just like walking around or finding something that brings you joy will help a lot. And for me, I don't know how to really code my voices because it's always out of control, but I think it's to challenge. Like, for me, I don't really get affected by what they say because it actually really just seems like ridiculous, but because it just is real, like someone's talking to me on my ear and about like my insecurities and everything, I felt quite ridiculous why like it's saying out loud, and by not by me, just like, but I don't know, these voices are just coming at me. So it's just like, to challenge those that are really just against your values. Like if they tell you to, you know harm or like put you in danger, just challenge it and say, no, I'm not gonna do that. I mean, if it really affects you, just challenge it in a way that make yourself feel okay, because there are times where I'm not okay, and I'm not one to be comforting myself all the time, so it can really lead me to a breakdown. But yeah, so that's my breaking point, because I don't know how to really tell myself it's okay, but it's really not. And I just think that it's important to be relaxed and neutral. Like, it's okay not to be okay. There are some days where I'm fine, some days I'm not. But I think I'm always okay. But the thing is, it really is soul draining, like I said. So it's really something that, that has to be managed and to be calm always. And yeah, so being on antipsychotics is really, for me, very stressful. I mean, it does help. I believe it does help in relieving. But for me, my experience with it was kind of bad. And I'm pretty sure people recommend me to try others, but I think I'm fine being off it because, I feel like it's the same severity, and I think the side effects really was bad, so I prefer to be off it. And yeah, so it's just my experience on it, and I've also done a research about it, that actually, sometimes antipsychotics, it can help you to sleep better, and without antipsychotics it might take a longer time, which I have collected data that is true that antipsychotics can help you to sleep. But for me, I'm always sleeping all the time, so I'm easily sleepy and I can sleep like well. So yeah, so that was also benefit to be on antipsychotics, and also that it helps to relieve your symptoms a lot. And yeah, but there are so many other treatments that you can try. If you have schizophrenia, there's hope still. I know every day is really tough, and just try to see what treatment that is suitable for you, and what kind of, you know antipsychotics that is good for you, or like treatments that are good for you, like CBT or anything. You can seek help from a psychologist or a counselor for any of emotional distress. And I believe there's always going to be hotlines to call if you really need someone. If you really need someone, talk to your friends or anybody who is really going to relate to you and to help you through your tough times. And I really hope that you guys can stay safe. And if you have any questions, or if you want to message me, please leave in the comments. And I hope you guys have learned quite a bit on this, and I hope you guys can be happy all the time and take every day step by step and go easy on yourself. Thank you.